Welcome back, guys, on another episode of Chemistry and Food Industries. Today, I'm your host, Nour, and previously on the last episode, we talked about Oreo ice cream and ice cream in general, and that was hella delicious. Today, we're talking about something just as equally as delicious and just as sugary. Drumroll, please. We're talking about gummy bears. No, not you, green guy. Go back. We're talking about, yes, those gummies that we all love and adore. Now, have you ever tried to recreate those at home and regretted it? Well, today we're delving deep down into the actual company and on the details of how it's actually made. Now, the chemistry in this particular food industry is mostly physical and super duper easy. So if you're willing to try this at home, you can totally do this with just a few ingredients as well. But today we're going to dive into the actual industry. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. Now, let's get on to it. The very first step we have is mixing all the ingredients in a huge container. This container will have heating and cooling abilities, which will benefit us later on in the video. The ingredients include corn syrup, which gives body and chew, sugar for flavor, obviously, water and gelatin. Now, we need that for the jelly texture that we need for the bear, and gelatin is basically a protein derived from tissues in animals, and it turns into jelly substance when mixed with water. The gelatin dissolves in water, then their molecules start to bond together, and they form that jelly mixture that we need. We need food coloring for physical appearance, and other flavorings like fruit juices, so you can get cherry bears, lemon bears, orange bears, and all that fun stuff. This process of mixing all of those ingredients together is a physical change. None of them lost their properties. You can still separate them if you need to. Their identity is still the same. They're just mixed together. Then the container or the batches are sent into the quality control so that they can make sure the candies mixture meet the standards. You don't want them to be too chewy, you don't want them to be too sugary, you want them to be just right. And those people make sure they are perfect. They check the odor, the texture, and the taste. Once they are approved of, the tanks go through the heating and cooling and continue the process. The third step, the gummy bears or the batch, is then taken into the molds. The mixture is then mixed with cornstarch. Now, we use cornstarch to prevent the gummies from sticking into the moldings, and it absorbs extra moisture that we don't need and hold the gummies in place. Now, that is a physical change. No new identity is formed, and you can separate the cornstarch from the gummies, obviously. The mixture will take place into the gummy bear shape in the molding, and then the mold will start cooling them, which is still a physical change because cooling does not change anything, it just hardens them, and they don't lose any identity as well. Then those batches are then transported into the conveyor belt and then to the starch buck, a machine for separating the candies from their starch moldings, and that is a physical change where you're just removing the gummies from their molds and you're not changing anything. The gummies are then dropped into sieves. What are sieves? It's a machine that removes unwanted material, and in this case, our unwanted material is the extra cornstarch. We don't want the gummies to be soaked in cornstarch. We want to keep them fresh, so we remove that cornstarch. And that is a physical change. The brushes inside the machine are removing the cornstarch. There's no change in substance. You're just separating two things from each other. The gummies go into the conveyor belt again in case of the extra decorations like sugar, colors, and just basic things. The gummies are then allowed to dry for 72 hours. Now, why are the gummies allowed to dry for 72 hours? They need to lose their extra moisture and gain a more chewy composure because you don't want them to be sticky, you don't want them to melt off your hands, and you just want them to be just right. And that is still a physical change. And then they go into packaging and delivering, and that is also a physical change. There is no change in identity whatsoever, and you can still separate the gummies from the packaging, obviously. And bam, the candies are ready to be packaged and delivered to your local market. And that's basically it. The gummies are then ready to be packaged and delivered to your local market, which is still a physical change. Obviously, they're delivered and put into packages, and they go to your market and you buy them and you enjoy them. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to tag us if you ever try this at home, and we'll link some videos down below for you guys to watch if you want to get more into the chemistry in food industries in general. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and next Friday night we'll be here with another episode. Thank you for watching and listening. See you guys next time.